You think the gunfight will kill you. It probably will not. In a frontier town in 1875, the water, the weather, or a frightened horse may finish the job first. A dirty knife or one careless spark can kill you long before you ever face a man in the street. It is July 1875, somewhere on the southern Great Plains. This is not one famous town, but a reconstruction of cattle towns rising beside the railroad. Places like Dodge City attract buffalo hunters, workers, merchants, soldiers, cattle drovers, gamblers, and families. They are all searching for money, opportunity, or a second life on the same unpaved street. You arrive carrying a small bag, a few dollars, and far too much confidence about the West. The train brakes scream beside a low wooden platform as coal smoke rolls across the station. Men jump down before the cars fully stop, pushing through crates, mail sacks, barrels, tools, and animals. Nobody is waiting to explain where you should go or what dangers are already surrounding you. The railway carried you hundreds of miles, but the modern world vanishes behind the departing engine. The first thing you notice is not the saloon, the cowboys, or the guns. It is the smell. Dust, manure, urine, food scraps, and tobacco spit cover the street while wagon wheels grind everything into the air. In dry weather, wagon wheels grind everything beneath them into a fine powder. Dust enters your eyes, your mouth, and every plate of food carried across the street. Flies move between manure, exposed meat, and human faces without interruption. When rain arrives, the same road becomes a river of mud. Boots disappear into deep ruts, wagons become trapped, and every step requires effort. Horses remain tied to wooden rails for hours, surrounded by noise, dogs, cattle, and strangers. A gunshot, a barking animal, or a piece of paper blowing in the wind can send one of them into panic. The street does not belong to pedestrians. A heavy freight wagon needs time to stop. A frightened horse can kick hard enough to break ribs or crush a skull. One careless step beneath a wheel can end your ability to work. Even a small injury is dangerous. A cut that would be treated easily in the modern world can collect dust, sweat, manure, and bacteria. Without antibiotics, infection may turn a minor wound into a fever that slowly destroys the body. The summer sun offers another threat. There are few trees, and the wooden storefronts provide only narrow strips of shade. Your clothing protects you from dust and sunlight, but it also traps heat against your skin. You need water. The town may draw it from a river, a shallow well, a barrel, or a wagon that sells it by the bucket. None of these sources guarantees safety. Behind a boarding house, you find a hand pump. The water looks clear as it fills your tin cup. That proves almost nothing. An outhouse stands nearby. Animals drink only a short distance away. Rain can carry human and animal waste into the shallow ground beneath your feet. Boiling the water would be safer, but that requires fuel, time, and patience. You are thirsty now, so you drink. For the moment, the water makes you feel better. Several days from now, the same cup may return as violent cramps, fever, vomiting, or diarrhea. In a climate already draining moisture from your body, severe illness can weaken you with frightening speed. The nearest trained physician may be stationed at a military fort. The doctor in town may be experienced, exhausted, self-taught, or simply the only person willing to answer the door. Before worrying about sickness, you need somewhere to sleep. The hotel has a painted sign and a crowded lobby. Dust-covered travelers fill every chair. The clerk takes several of your coins and hands you a heavy room key. Upstairs, thin wooden walls divide a narrow corridor into cramped rooms. A wash basin and pitcher may be the only private sanitation you receive. The privy is outside. Your mattress may be filled with straw, feathers, corn husks, or whatever material the owner could find. You will not be sleeping alone. Bedbugs hide in the seams. Fleas move through blankets. Lice pass easily between travelers. If the rooms are full, you may be offered half a bed, a chair, a place on the floor, or space inside the stable. Privacy is expensive. You hide your money beneath your clothing and keep your boots close. Theft is far more common than the famous street duel you expected. A newcomer who displays cash is announcing that he is inexperienced. Hunger eventually forces you downstairs and into an eating house. The menu depends on what the railroad delivered and what survived the heat. Beans are common. Salt pork lasts longer than fresh meat. Beef may be plentiful near a cattle town, but refrigeration is limited. Bread can be hard and fresh vegetables may be scarce or expensive. The meat on your plate looks acceptable. You cannot see bacteria. You cannot know how long it sat beside flies or whether the cook washed his hands. You eat because hunger is certain. Food poisoning is only a possibility. The meal costs more than you expected. Frontier towns are not cheap. Almost every manufactured item must travel by rail or wagon. Merchants charge for distance, scarcity, damage, and risk. Your remaining dollars are disappearing quickly. You need work. The easiest jobs to obtain are usually the jobs most likely to injure you. At the railway siding, laborers unload timber, barrels, machinery, tools, and heavy sacks. A loose barrel can crush a foot or roll a man beneath a wagon. At the livery stable, workers shovel manure, carry water, and handle animals much stronger than themselves. Inside the blacksmith shop, glowing iron, heavy hammers, and flying sparks create constant danger. Freight companies need men to load wagons that may cross open country without shelter or reliable water. You choose the stockyard because the foreman promises to pay at sunset. You hear the yard before you enter it. Hooves strike the ground. Long horns hit wooden rails. Men shout from gates and walkways. Dogs bark beneath clouds of dust. Cattle press against fences that were built quickly and repaired many times. The popular image of a cowboy is a lone rider beneath an endless sky. The reality is labor, long days, poor sleep, wet clothing, dust inside every seam. A cattle drover may spend weeks controlling animals that can stampede during a storm at a sudden sound or for reasons no person can understand. Inside the pen, every movement matters. A longhorn does not need to attack you deliberately. It only needs to turn its head at the wrong moment. One horn can tear through clothing and flesh. A frightened animal can crush you against a gate before the other workers can react. The foreman points toward the cattle and tells you to move. Your first day of employment has begun. The workers around you do not match the simple world shown in popular stories. Some are former Union soldiers. Others fought for the Confederacy. They now work under the same sun, carrying memories and loyalties that did not disappear when the war ended. Mexican and Mexican-American vaqueros bring generations of knowledge about riding, roping, horses, and cattle. Much of what later becomes known as cowboy culture was shaped by their skills and traditions. Black cowboys also ride the trails and work the stockyards, building new lives after emancipation. Railroad construction and Western commerce bring immigrants and laborers from many parts of the world into the region. Women run boarding houses, restaurants, laundries, shops, and small businesses. They cook, clean, manage accounts, raise children, repair clothing, and perform the exhausting work that allows the town to continue functioning. The West is diverse. It is not equal. Your pay, safety, legal protection, and treatment can depend on your race, sex, language, and the people willing to defend you. The frontier may offer reinvention, but it carries the prejudices and violence of the rest of the country. Beyond the wooden buildings lies another truth the legends often hide. This settlement is part of an expansion across lands long inhabited and governed by native nations. Treaties have been broken. Military campaigns are forcing communities from hunting grounds and onto reservations. Near the railroad, commercial hunters stack buffalo hides in enormous piles. The animals are being killed in numbers so great that entire landscapes are changing. For many Plains peoples, the buffalo provides food, clothing, tools, shelter, trade, and spiritual meaning. The piles beside the tracks are not simply evidence of commerce. They are evidence of a world being dismantled. The railroad brings opportunity to the new town, but that opportunity has not arrived without a cost. The cattle suddenly shift. A worker opens the wrong gate and the stockyard becomes chaos. Longhorns surge into a narrow passage. Dust explodes beneath their hooves. Men climb fences and shout for everyone to move. You press your back against the wooden rails as horns sweep past your chest. One worker is not fast enough. He falls. For several seconds, his body nearly disappears beneath the moving animals. Two men reach him and drag him clear before the herd can trample him completely. His leg bends in a direction it should not. There is no ambulance, no emergency telephone, no trained team waiting nearby. Several workers remove a wooden door from a shed and use it as a stretcher. They carry the injured man toward a back room while the foreman orders everyone else to return to work. So you continue. By sunset, your hands are blistered. Your shirt is dark with sweat. Dust coats your skin and fills your mouth. The foreman counts a few coins into your palm. Most of the money immediately disappears. You need another meal. You still owe for your room. A single injury could erase everything you earned and leave you unable to work. This is the frontier bargain. The wages may be better than what you left behind, but the distance between earning money and losing it is dangerously small. As darkness settles over the town, lanterns appear behind windows. Music drifts through swinging saloon doors. Men who have spent weeks on the trail are entering town with money in their pockets and exhaustion in their bodies. You tell yourself you will go inside for only one drink. The promise sounds reasonable. So did drinking the water. Inside the saloon, the air is thick with tobacco smoke, sweat, alcohol, and lamp oil. A battered piano plays in the corner. Drovers crowd the bar. Men read notices, search for work, exchange news, and spend wages that took weeks to earn. The saloon is more than a place to drink. It is a hiring hall, gambling room, social club, information center, and business designed to separate tired men from their money. The bartender watches unpaid tabs. A professional gambler watches your face. You sit at a card table. Your first mistake is assuming the rules will protect you. Your second is drinking too quickly. Your third is winning. The man across from you studies the cards and decides that you cheated. Perhaps he is lying. Perhaps he truly believes it. The difference may not matter. The room becomes quiet. Hands move toward belts, pockets, knives, bottles, and holstered revolvers. Contrary to the legend, Western towns are not trapped in constant gunfights. Many communities restrict firearms in certain areas because merchants prefer customers who remain alive. But rules are only as strong as the people enforcing them. Law officers are few. Jails are small. Witnesses can disappear. Alcohol turns pride into danger faster than a town ordinance can stop it. You slowly stand. You leave your winnings on the table. Then you walk away. It is the most intelligent decision you have made since arriving. Outside, darkness covers the unpaved street. There are no electric lights. Moonlight, lanterns, windows, and open doors create small islands of visibility. A rider charges past and nearly knocks you down. Behind the saloon, two men are fighting. A knife flashes beneath the lantern light. Then a gunshot cracks somewhere farther down the street. You do not investigate. A bell begins ringing above the street. Fire. Inside the livery stable, a lantern has fallen into dry hay. The flames spread almost instantly. Fire climbs the wooden wall, reaches the roof, and throws burning sparks toward the next building. Frontier towns are built quickly from dry timber. Within a few steps of one another, they store hay, lamp oil, alcohol, coal, and ammunition. Water may exist only in barrels, buckets, and shallow wells. Everyone who can move forms a line. You lift a full bucket, pass it forward, and receive an empty one in return. The water disappears into heat and smoke. Your arms begin to ache, but the line cannot stop. Men enter the stable and pull terrified horses from their stalls. One animal breaks free and charges through the crowd. People scatter as it disappears into the darkness. Families drag trunks, chairs, blankets, tools, and merchandise into the street. They are trying to save whatever they can before the wind changes direction. A loaded revolver is nearly useless. A wet blanket is more valuable. The flames move across the roof. For several minutes, the entire block appears ready to burn. Then part of the stable collapses inward. The falling roof cuts off one path of the fire. The bucket line continues until the flames shrink into glowing timber, steam, and smoke. Nobody celebrates. Everyone is too tired. The street is filled with mud, burned wood, frightened animals, and possessions pulled from threatened buildings. A young stable worker holds his burned hands against his chest. The injured stockyard worker is still lying in a nearby room. Now the town needs a doctor. The doctor arrives carrying a worn leather case. Inside are bandages, bottles, metal instruments, and a few medicines. He may possess valuable knowledge, but he must work inside a dirty wooden room beneath weak lantern light. The stable worker's burns are cleaned with limited supplies. Then the doctor turns toward the broken leg. Several men hold the injured worker in place. He bites down on a strip of leather while the bone is pulled back into position. If the skin remains unbroken, he has a chance. If bacteria enter the wound, the town has few reliable answers. Antiseptic medicine is spreading, but not every doctor has accepted it. Not every instrument is clean. Not every patient survives the treatment. You return to the boarding house after midnight. Smoke covers your clothing. Insects move through the mattress. Someone snores behind the thin wall. You think about leaving on the morning train. Then the wind begins. A Great Plains storm can form with frightening speed. Dust strikes the windows. Rain follows, turning the street into a channel of mud. Lightning flashes above roofs built without modern protection. By morning, buildings have lost shingles. A freight wagon is trapped in the road. The water from the pump has turned cloudy. Summer brings heat, insects, unsafe water, and violent storms. Winter brings another enemy. A poorly insulated room can become deadly during a blizzard. Fuel runs low. Trains are delayed. Roads disappear. Livestock freeze. A traveler caught outside may lose feeling in his hands before understanding how much danger has arrived. Food becomes repetitive. Meat, beans, bread, and coffee may keep you moving, but fresh produce is limited. Poor nutrition makes illness and injury harder to survive. Even a toothache can become an emergency. The nearest solution may be a pair of metal forceps and a strong person willing to hold you still. There are quieter dangers as well. Loneliness, gambling debt, alcohol dependence, exhaustion. A letter from home may take weeks to arrive. The town can be crowded while leaving you completely alone. Yet people stay. They raise churches and schoolhouses. They print newspapers. They repair roofs, dig wells, open shops, plant gardens, and organize volunteer fire companies. They hire law officers and demand clearer rules. Railroad connections bring tools, mail, medicine, information, and new settlers. The rough settlement begins trying to become a permanent community. That transformation is what the mythology often misses. The Wild West was not a completed world ruled only by gunmen. It was an unstable construction site where ordinary people tried to create order faster than commerce, conflict, weather, and human weakness could destroy it. Could you survive here? Possibly. You would need a healthy body, useful skills, cautious habits, strong relationships, and extraordinary luck. You would boil water when you could. You would avoid displaying money. You would treat horses, machinery, infection, weather, and fire as greater dangers than dramatic strangers. You would leave an argument before pride trapped you. Most importantly, you would understand that the frontier does not reward courage alone. Courage may bring you west. Discipline keeps you alive. Community gives you a chance. Luck decides how long that chance lasts. The morning train whistles beyond the muddy street. You stand outside the boarding house with your bag in your hand. You could leave now, carrying one night of smoke, fear, and pain back toward the world you know. The town is already awake. A cook opens her door. Hammers strike fresh timber. A freight wagon moves toward the railway. Somewhere behind the buildings, the injured worker is still alive. You look toward the departing train. Then you look back at the town. You slowly place your bag on the boardwalk, and the second day begins.